Hey guys, welcome to The Sophisticated Scoundrel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you have not already, be sure to grab my free guide, How to Attract Feminine Women. I think you'll really enjoy it. All right, so today's topic comes from a follower on Instagram. He asked me a question, and that question was, he doesn't know if the woman that he's dating is the one for him or not. And this is a question that I get from a lot of guys, because you might be going out with a girl who's got a lot of great things, but then there's some things that cause you to hesitate. So if you've been in that situation before, then I think you're gonna wanna hear a little bit about what's going on with this guy's situation and then get my thoughts on that. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So let's take a look at what he says. So he says that we share the same values, goals, and just are mutually very similar. She is always supportive and wants to share her life with me and is truly interested in me and my life. All right, so we're off to a good start. Obviously, a woman who's genuinely interested in you is something that is of utmost importance, because if a woman really isn't that interested in you, then there's not much that you can do to change her mind. It's pretty much something set from the beginning. And I think a lot of guys out there, they get into the trap of thinking, if I just do more, if I get this hobby, or if I look this way, if I buy this cool shirt, if I have a nice car, then I can convince her that there's something about me that she will like. And that's just impossible to do. So if a girl really is truly into you and she has a genuine desire from her inner core, that's a great thing that you should be looking for in any woman that you're going out with, that you want to have a more serious relationship with. So she's got those things, which is good. But he says this: the only difficult matter is the communication. She's very introverted and, as I feel, shy without really any reason. So in most situations, I start and keep a conversation running, and she doesn't really ask questions in most cases. Okay, so let's stop right there. So basically what he's saying is that he's making all the effort to put into the relationship, to make conversation, to talk about things, to interact, to converse, to share ideas and things like that. And she's really not doing any of that. It sounds like she's very, well, as he puts it, shy, but it just sounds like her communication skills, she is not someone who speaks from herself. And now there could be many reasons for this. I don't know her, obviously, but there are just different personality types out there in the world, obviously, right? There are more extroverted, there are more introverted, there are people who really feel comfortable talking, but the funny thing is that a lot of introverts, they actually are very talkative when they are feeling comfortable with people. So she might be a little bit nervous around this guy. I don't know the exact details, but usually when a woman feels comfortable with you, she opens up and she speaks more to you, especially these introverted type of women. Once they get comfortable with someone, they do tend to open up more. But it's a matter of, whether or not they feel comfortable. Now, whether or not that's your responsibility as the man, obviously, yeah, you are the leader of the relationship, so you need to do what you can to create a conducive situation that she can feel comfortable. Now there's the other end of it too, where if she's got a lot of baggage or past traumas or something that happened in her life that kind of mess with her mind and she feels very insecure, that's something that isn't necessarily your responsibility. That's her responsibility to figure that stuff out. So when she gets into a relationship, she has the ability to open up and be intimate with the person that she's with. So, that's going to be something that you're going to have to figure out more of, and maybe you can follow up with me and let me know some of the details on that. Okay, so let me continue on with this, is that, she says that she doesn't keep the conversation running. So what he's experiencing is frustration that he's putting in a lot of effort and he thinks that she's not putting in a lot of effort. And that, of course, is going to be frustrating. There has to be some reciprocation there. There has to be a balance. If one person is doing all the work, it's starting to bother him, and they've only been going out for, who knows how long, but at this point in the relationship, it's already starting to irritate him. So you can see how this will carry out if you were to stay with her, and if this doesn't get solved, it's only going to fester and get worse. All right. He also says that the humor of us is very different. So sometimes there are misunderstandings that happen, and through all of this, it's not always that harmonious, or well-rounded as maybe it should be. Okay, so let me just, I want to dive into this humor thing because I really think that humor is essential to a good relationship. Now, it might sound a little corny, but honestly, if you can't laugh together and find the same types of things humorous, you are going to spend so much time explaining what you mean. They're going to be trying to understand what you're trying to say, or vice versa. They're explaining to you, and you're going to lose that humor. And why I think humor is absolutely essential, especially, in my own life, in my own experiences, I've noticed that girls that I get along with when it comes to a sense of humor, we just have a way better relationship, because humor is something that really draws people together. When you can share that level of emotion together and are on the same page, it creates so much better of an intimacy, a bond, and a connection between the two of you, because you're both experiencing that high of that humor, like you're on the same wavelength. There's no need for explanations, and you just get each other. And especially if she thinks that you're funny, I mean, that's huge. If she, like women who I've dated that thought I was the funniest thing around, it's just like their love for me, their affection for me was so much greater than the women who were like not really on the same level of they didn't quite get the jokes as much. They didn't think it was as funny. And that's had nothing to do with whether I'm funny or not. It has to do with, does your sense of humor match? Because some girls might not think I'm funny at all, which is totally cool. And they're right. If our humors are on the same path and they don't think I'm funny, they are right. But then you have other women who think I'm hilarious and they love it. They can't get enough, and they're right too. So you want to make sure that you have that fit. And I honestly think that humor is such a powerful way to connect. So if you are on the same wavelength in terms of chemistry when it comes to humor, that's something that I would definitely pay attention to and look for. Now, if you're a guy who, there's some guys who just aren't funny at all. And even then, if the girl really likes you, she'll think that in and of itself is funny. She's just so enamored by you that she might chuckle how dry you are, or how you lack a sense of humor. But again, I do think that having that sense of humor and sharing laughs together is one of the ways that you will get a stronger bond and a stronger commitment from the woman that you're with in your life. It's really frustrating when you are laughing and they're totally not getting it and you have to explain it. It kills all the humor. It kills the entire mood. It's like, okay, that was a lot of work for something that was, originally could have been something so funny. The other thing too, I'll warn about the humor thing is that if they get offended by your sense of humor, that is going to be a major problem, because, girls who get butthurt by jokes, who take it personally, that's not the type of woman that you want to spend time with. These type of women are a pain in the ass, quite frankly. They just are always feeling like the world is out to get them. They don't see the humor. They have a victim mentality where everybody's out against them. They can't laugh at themselves even. This is a recipe for your frustration down the line, and you don't want to spend time with a woman like that. So a woman with a good sense of humor goes a long way, trust me. Okay. And then he also goes on to say, because I did ask him like what he meant by that always harmonious, and he says that they just don't have a matching energy. And again, he says, if I have to explain a joke, and she doesn't get the point of it. So in this situation, he also says that she's quite young. She's 17 and he's 20. So I'm not really sure that does sound that age gap. At least in the United States, you have to be at least 18 to be dating someone like that. I don't know where he's from, so he's not from the United States. So anyway, I don't know the rules wherever he's from. So anyway, I just want to clarify that. But anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say is that you need to, if you have this much reservation or this much tension with this type of woman already this early on in the relationship, chances are it's going to continue like that during the whole relationship. It's not your job to fix somebody. It's not your job to change somebody. And there's a difference between guiding a woman down the right path and then wanting to completely change her personality altogether. And you can't do that. You cannot change someone's personality, and you shouldn't want to. She is the way she is, and she's not going to want to change for you or for anybody else unless it's something that she feels on the inside. People only really change when they reach a pain point or when something in their life happens that forces them to change because they no longer want to be in the situation that they're in. It has to come from within. So keep that in mind. You won't be able to change her, especially when it comes to something as deep as humor. If she doesn't get your humor, that there's nothing that you can do to have her see humor from your perspective. And let me give you some guidance on how to deal with this in the future, because to me, this seems like this would be a relationship full of resentment down the line. You're gonna get resentful. She'll either get resentful towards you or you're gonna get resentful towards her. You don't want to be in a relationship like that. But here's what a lot of guys do. They get into a relationship without thinking about, okay, what kind of a woman am I actually looking for? They just kind of are out and about, living their life, and the first girl that thinks they're kind of cool, they end up getting together with, build a relationship with, and it was like you didn't even put any thought into it. Imagine when you buy a car, you're looking, okay, I want this company, I want this color, I want these specs, I want these tires, I want front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, I want a sports car, I want it to be red. You put in so much time and effort into thinking about, okay, this is what I'm looking for, right? Well, you need to do the same thing for the women that you want to bring into your life. I want a girl who is, she's 20 to 25 years old. She has a great sense of humor. She's feminine. She's not a feminist. She has long brown hair. You want to come up with at least 10 different things what you are like, these are what I'm looking for, and you write these things down. So then therefore it's kind of like in your brain as you're living your life, and all of a sudden you'll realize, like, as you're out there in the world, like, oh, you know what, like, that girl's exactly what I'm looking for, and you have an idea in your mind of what it is that you want. Because if you use the shotgun approach and just kind of like go for anything at random, you're going to end up then with something at random, someone who's not in line with what you're really looking for. So get specific, much like you would when you're buying a car, buying a house, buying clothes. You know what you're looking for, you narrow it down, and you're focused in on that. Do the same thing with women. Figure out, think to yourself, what kind of a woman do I want? Write it down, focus in on that vision, and then you live your life that you'll start to see that type of woman out there. I mean, this has literally worked for me countless times when I've been out on the dating scene. I'll write it down what I'm looking for when I'm ready for a relationship, and lo and behold, she shows up. So it might sound a little weird. It's not necessarily a manifestation thing, but it's just about training your brain to look for what you really, really want in life. So give this a shot. Don't just go out there without any semblance of what you're looking for and just hope for the best. Be specific, because then you can also turn away things that aren't for you. So for example, if you would have written down on your list, I want a girl with a sense of humor. Well, as you got to know this girl and you realize, she's not getting my jokes, then like, okay, I'm gonna move on because this one really is not for me. So you could have saved yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache and potentially a lot of heartache, because the more you are in a relationship with someone, even if it's with someone you don't really like, it becomes more and more difficult to get out of that relationship because you build an emotional connection. We're human beings. We build emotional bonds. And once you do, it's really hard to say goodbye because you create memories together. You have special moments and special occasions that you are going to look back on with in a fond way. You're going to be like, man, we had such a great time. And you might forget all the hardships that you went through. So be clear about it from the get-go so you don't have to go through such heartache later on down the line. Tell me about what you guys have gone through. Have you guys ever gone out with a woman that you probably shouldn't have, but then it became very difficult to break up with her later on down the line because you had built such a strong bond with her emotionally, even though you knew, like, hey, this is just not the right fit and I need to put an end to it? Tell me about that in the comments below. Otherwise, that's it for this video, and we will see you in the next one.